that he did that interview with that DaBaby person who sat there and told him about when he met Beyonce. Y'all remember that? How he was at the Diddy party at Diddy's house and how Beyonce presented herself to him. And she didn't have to do that because he knew who she was and he couldn't believe she was talking to him. But she approached him.
Somebody go out there to the mansions in the Hamptons and check on Beyonce. They say she sprung out on drugs.
I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there.
Mm-hmm.
Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know,
right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in
right.
at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop the whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope.
I was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes,
new.
There already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge. Mr. Combs was in the tape and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video. And I can tell the video is pornographic in nature.
Is a broke down Mandingo fighter still working on behalf of the NFL. Interview with that DaBaby person who sat there and told him about when he met Beyonce. Y'all remember that? That happened on Shay Shay. And he talked about how he was at the Diddy party at Diddy's house. And how after, you know, the festivities were winding down and it was getting later into the middle of the night, approaching 3 a.m., Diddy got rid of almost everybody, but he let DaBaby stay behind with him and his close friends. And then he talked about how Beyonce was there and Jay-Z was there. Not at their house, at Diddy's house.
The reason why they're already living separate lives, and we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood, is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed. And it's only so much of these stories that Jay-Z can, you know, he can pay off or he can block. He won't be able to stop this. And she knows it and he knows it too. As far as who's gonna be the breakout victim / story, I don't know. Yeah, I might have to ask Jason Lee. I don't know. But I'm just letting you know that once that comes out and Jay-Z is exposed for his nefarious past, you're gonna see Beyonce divorce him. Okay. And she may or may not do an interview, but you're gonna their publicist is gonna release something. She's gonna say, oh, the Carters have been separated for some time. They built this beautiful life, blah, 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 blah. Now, before all this happens, we may get another tour. We may get another album out of both of them. I don't know, because at the end of the day, they about their money first. They're gonna do what's best for business first. As far as Beyonce is concerned, do she love him? I mean, he's really all that she knows.
The internet is in absolute chaos right now, and Beyonce's name is suddenly at the center of the storm. After months of whispers, cancel brunches, and celebrities distancing themselves from Diddy, fans are now convinced the Carters might be closer to the drama than anyone realized. And just when things couldn't get messy, 50 Cent pops up announcing a brand new exposé documentary that he claims will shine a harsh spotlight on Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship with Diddy. But the moment that really sent social media in a meltdown? A resurfaced interview featuring DaBaby describing a late-night party encounter that had fans raising eyebrows and connecting dots nobody asked to be connected. So, what's rumor, what's reach, and what's actually going on behind the scenes? Let's break down the internet's latest obsession, because this story gets wilder by the minute. The internet did not wake up ready for this one. Out of absolutely nowhere, 50 Cent has announced he's dropping what he calls a full-blown exposé on some of the biggest names in the industry. And yes, he specifically teased the Carters. Suddenly, Beyoncé and Jay-Z, who've been tiptoeing away from anything even remotely linked to the Diddy chaos, are being dragged right back into the spotlight. But what sent the rumor mill from simmering to full boil was not the documentary announcement. It was a resurfaced interview that fans claim changes everything. An interview that has social media convinced there might be way more to the story than the Carters ever intended the public to see. And if you think this is just another round of internet reaching, oh no. The way the timelines are lining up has people losing their minds. Now, if you're wondering why this documentary announcement has the entire internet foaming at the mouth, it all goes back to the Diddy situation, which has already sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Ever since those allegations and investigations surfaced, fans have been combing through every old interview, photo, party story, red carpet moment. Anything that could hint at who might have been closer to Diddy than they previously let on. And that's where things really spiraled. Social media detectives started pulling up clips, old collaborations, award show footage, and even past friendships, trying to figure out who knew what, who was around whom, and who might have looked the other way. It's turned into a full-blown digital manhunt for suspicious celebrity behavior, and the Carters have somehow landed right in the middle of it. Fans online swear they've noticed Beyoncé and Jay-Z making subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, moves to distance themselves from anything connected to Diddy. Whether it's skipped events, canceled appearances, or just radio silence, people are reading everything as a sign. And the theory that the Carters have been strategically pulling back has only gotten louder since 50 Cent made his announcement. So with the internet already on edge, that resurfaced interview didn't just pour gasoline on the fire. It practically launched a flamethrower into the conversation. So here's the interview that took this entire situation from interesting to, okay, wait a minute. When fans resurfaced DaBaby's old conversation, the internet immediately locked in. Not because of anything scandalous he claimed, but because of the setting he described. According to him, he was invited to one of those late-night industry gatherings at Diddy's house. He said he expected a quick business chat, nothing major. But when he walked in, the room was filled with some of the biggest names in music, including Jay-Z and Beyoncé. The part that had social media screaming is the moment he says Beyoncé came over to introduce herself, politely, casually, as if they hadn't both been global superstars aware of each other for years. The internet instantly grabbed onto that detail. People said it felt too intentional, too formal, too something. And once viewers noticed the late-night timing, the small guest list, and the unusual mixture of artists in one room, the interview suddenly turned into one of the most reposted clips of the week. None of what he said was scandalous on its own. It was just a celebrity telling a celebrity story. But the context? The timing? That is what made people go back, rewatch, slow down, and analyze every frame. Did Beyoncé seem unusually formal? Why was that group of celebrities together so late? Why did the vibe feel exclusive instead of like a normal industry mixer? The public turned a simple anecdote into a full-on investigation. Timelines started circulating. People created diagrams. Fan edits appeared breaking down the moment Beyoncé walked up to him. And the comment sections? A complete circus. Most people weren't shocked about the story itself. They were shocked by how perfectly it aligned with all the rumors already bubbling around Diddy's inner circle. And that's exactly what brought us to the next wave of speculation. Once that clip started trending, social media detectives did what they always do: connected to every rumor floating across the internet. Suddenly, people were revisiting long-running TikTok discussions about industry party culture in Hollywood. The whispered idea that certain gatherings had unspoken rules, unlisted guests, and a whole lot of things the general public never sees. Then an interview with an entertainment attorney resurfaced. One where she said she had been contacted by someone attempting to shop around an alleged video involving Diddy and another high-profile figure. She didn't name anyone. She didn't confirm anything beyond the fact that someone had reached out, and she said she declined a request. But that tiny piece of commentary sent the internet into a frenzy. People started tying the attorney's claims to DaBaby's story, even though she never linked the two. Threads popped up asking whether this mystery celebrity could be connected to the guest list people were now analyzing. It was pure speculation, but that has never stopped the internet from running full speed into a rumor. Creators began stitching the attorney's interview with DaBaby's clip, calling it evidence or context, even though nothing was proven. It became less about what was said and more about what people thought it meant. And once that speculation took hold, things escalated fast. This is when the old viral clips started resurfacing, especially the courtside video of Beyoncé looking exhausted at a basketball game years ago. Back when it first circulated, people laughed it off, saying she looked tired, jet-lagged, or just zoning out during a long season. But now, fans were reposting it with captions like, "This hits different in 2025," and "Was this around the time of those parties?" A whole new wave of theories formed overnight. Some said her body language looked off. Others insisted she looked out of it. And because the internet thrives on drama, those comments shot straight to the top of trending pages. Examples of real comments circulating online. "Y'all, this clip feels suspicious knowing what we know now. No way this was just tiredness. Every old video is starting to make sense. I didn't believe the rumors at first. Now I'm side-eyeing everything." Again, none of these claims are proven, and many fans pushed back, saying people were reading way too much into an innocent moment. But the louder the theories grew, the more the clip spread. It became the visual shorthand for the entire online conversation. And that's what created the perfect storm for the next wave of speculation. The theory that Beyoncé has been working overtime for a very specific reason. Around this time, commentary from YouTuber Storm Monroe started resurfacing. In his videos, he speculated, purely his opinion and analysis, that Beyoncé had been in non-stop work mode for the past year because she might be preparing for unpredictable fallout in the industry. He listed projects, partnerships, and launches, pointing out how unusually packed her schedule looked. Fans quickly latched onto this idea. They began making lists of everything she's released recently. The world tour, the film, the country album, Ivy Park campaigns, perfume, hair care, liquor branding. The timeline got longer and longer. And suddenly, the internet had labeled this the Beyoncé is stacking everything now theory. Online, people debated whether this was simply Beyoncé being her usual workaholic self, or whether the packed calendar suggested she was preparing for a shift, distancing, or rebranding strategy. Some called it coincidence. Others called it damage control. As always, nothing about these theories is confirmed. They're just fans speculating, analyzing patterns, and doing what the internet does best, building narratives based on timing, vibes, and assumptions. But whether you believe the theories or not, one thing is true. Beyoncé hasn't taken her foot off the gas in years. And with 50 Cent teasing a documentary and old interviews resurfacing, people are wondering whether all this hustle is just business as usual or a calculated move in an industry storm. And then, right when the rumor mill was already spinning out of control, 50 Cent jumped back in like he was born to pour gasoline on digital fires. For weeks, he's been posting troll after troll, sharing memes, edited photos, and captions that had people choking on their morning coffee. One day, it's Jay-Z's face on a milk carton with the caption, "Have you seen this man?" The next day, it's a grainy picture he claims was the last sighting before Jay allegedly went underground. Online, half the comments treat it like comedy. The other half treat it like prophecy. Because with 50, You never know. Is he joking? Is he being messy? Or is he teasing something he's actually cooking up behind the scenes? And that's where the tension exploded. People began asking the real question. Is this so-called documentary just 50 Cent doing what 50 Cent always does? Or is he sitting on something bigger? He's already proven with the Diddy documentary that he's willing to take things from rumor status to a full-blown investigation. So now everyone's wondering, is this next project legit? Or is it trolling on steroids? The uncertainty is the hook, and 50 Cent knows it. He's playing chess while the internet tries to figure out what game he's even playing. As soon as 50's post started circulating, the entire online conversation shifted again, straight into one of the most heated debates the internet has had in years. On one side, there are fans who believe Beyoncé is a bystander caught in the crossfire of powerful men, Hollywood politics, and decades-old industry alliances. They argue she's always projected control, privacy, and independence, and that the idea she'd willingly involve herself in anyone else's chaos just doesn't track with who she's been publicly for over 20 years. These fans say the resurfaced stories paint her as someone who may have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, not someone orchestrating anything. But then there's the other side, the fans who say Beyoncé is too smart, too calculating, too industry aware not to have known what was happening around her. They point to the timing of her distancing, the spacing of her releases, and the quiet way she and Jay-Z have managed their public image. To them, she's not innocent or oblivious. She's strategic. They believe she attended the same parties, shook hands with the same people, and may have been closer to the situation than her team would ever admit. And the internet is split. Is she a victim of the industry? A participant in the environment she grew up in? A woman protecting her brand? Or just someone who happens to be married to a man the internet is suddenly looking at sideways? The arguments rage on, with millions of comments, stitches, and reactions, each side convinced they're seeing the truth. And at the center of it all is a woman who hasn't said a single word publicly about any of it. But here's the part that has everyone holding their breath. If 50 Cent really drops that documentary, if he actually follows through, everything changes. Not just for Jay-Z, not just for Beyoncé, but for the entire conversation around who knew what, who was connected to whom, and what really went down in the corners of the industry the public never gets to see. So now the only question left is, what do you believe? Do you think Beyoncé is being unfairly dragged into speculation because she's the biggest name in the room? Do you think Jay-Z has something to hide? Or is this all just 50 Cent stirring the pot for entertainment? And if that documentary does see the light of day, what do you think it reveals? Tell me your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over. And if you're brave enough to go deeper into the rabbit hole, click over to the next video. We're breaking down the receipts, the timelines, and the rumors the internet cannot stop repeating.